from the heart of America in Chicago, Illinois. It's time for Roker Radio with Al Roker Jr. And now, Al Roker Jr.
Al Roker Jr. here at the restaurant show, and I'm here with AJ from Nala Robotics. Why is a robotic company at a restaurant show? Well, how about I let him explain. What is your product here?
Thanks, Al. So we are a robotic automation company specialized in robotic kitchens. And the robotics is a big thing in the restaurant world now. With the pandemic, things have changed, and this shortage of labor, the hygiene is becoming a huge issue, and that's where the robotics are going to help in terms of making our lives better. We have multiple robots here. We have a frying bot that can do your wings, that can do fried chicken, tater tots, whatever you want it. It can go by the count, or it can go by the pound, and it can sauce it, package it, and send it out to the customer.
Okay, let me stop you right there for a second. So, how exactly does that do that? Are you saying that it will take the fries out of the freezer and drop the fries, and then take them out and salt the fries, and then put the fries in the correct container?
That's right, yeah. So it actually would have, it's a three-part system: the dispenser, the fryer, and the seasoning station.
Okay.
So the dispenser would dispense it by the weight. You can say a pound of wing, or you can say 3 pieces of wings. It's going to dispense by that, and then it's going to fry it. You can do 2-stage frying, where you would fry a bunch of it and then do a second flash fry later.
Right.
So, and then it's going to go into the seasoning station, where you would add the set amount of sauce or seasoning, dry rub, wet saucing, whatever you want it, and then it's going to package it for you and clean itself again. You can get ready for the next batch.
So what is So you sell these to restaurant owners, correct?
That's right, yes.
So what's your elevator pitch to the restaurant owner?
Shortage of labor is one thing, the hygiene is one thing, and the beauty of it is the return on investment is pretty fast. If you're a 24/7 operation, you're gonna get your money back really, really fast.
Okay, now in the news a lot lately is AI, and about how AI is going to replace everything. It's going to take jobs. So what has been the pushback on these robotic chefs? Because probably every chef in this building got their start washing dishes in a restaurant or dropping fries somewhere.
Totally, yeah. If you look at how things have evolved in the technology world, let's talk about the computers. Like a couple of decades ago, when the computers came in, we were all worried that they would take away our jobs. But computers actually improved the quality of our lives. They made our lives better. We could get through the pandemic because of remote work, and that's all because of computers. Similarly, with AI and robotics coming into our lives, it's going to make our lives better. Humans can do much better things, in fact, and they actually are going to be helping us and making the quality of our lives much better, in fact.
Well, it's fascinating, I'll tell you that. If people want to learn more about it, do you have a website?
Yeah, they can go to nalarobotics.com. Also, we have a live kitchen in Naperville. They can drop by our kitchen and see how the robotics make their dishes.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm here at the restaurant convention with Chef Paul Kahn from One Off Hospitality. Have you heard of Blackbird? Have you heard of Avec? Have you heard of Publican? Have you heard of Big Star? I take up the entire time of our interview if I mentioned all of your restaurants, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Did you have any idea 15 plus years ago that you would be in charge of such an empire at this point, quite frankly?
22 years ago.
22 years ago.
And only partially in charge. I have amazing business partners that allow me to exceed culinarily. They handle the finances, the real estate, all that end of it, so that I can focus on the culinary end of the equation. But did I have any idea? Absolutely not. I wouldn't wish it upon my greatest enemy. Almost 1,200 employees, a lot of personalities to deal with, a lot of great restaurants, fortunately, because of the incredible team that I'm fortunate enough to work with.
And Chicago is an amazing restaurant town and an amazing food town, due in part, a lot to you and your group. But what makes Chicago such a fantastic food town, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's the Midwest sensibility. I think Midwesterners are, they like meat and potatoes, but they're also, I kind of equate it to Chicago, a city that's been built and rebuilt so many times. We're not afraid to try new things and change things. Why is Chicago essentially the American epicenter, or was it the epicenter for molecular gastronomy? Grant Achatz and all those cats doing that amazing stuff, because it's just the Midwestern sensibility. I think people are excited to change. I think a lot of it has to do with our geographic location in the middle of the country. I think we're accessible from the coasts. And I think people are really, really, really wonderful in Chicago, and that has it's all about hospitality at the end of the day.
Tell me why you're here at the restaurant show.
I'm here with Morningstar Farms. They make this incredible chorizo, plant-based chorizo product. I was actually a vegetarian for a number of years when I was a kid by choice. And my brother and I ate a lot of Morningstar Farms products. So when they asked me if I was interested in doing it, I said, yeah, I actually love the product. They gave us their whole line of stuff to work with, and we came up with a taco that really is really delicious. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't stand behind it. I wouldn't be here unless it was something that I thought was really delicious. Passion kind of is the way we lead in our kitchens, and I'm really passionate about the product. It's really delicious.
I was telling Molly and some of the people over there earlier before you came over, I said that, I'm not a vegetarian, but I like Morningstar Farms. Yeah. My mom used to buy Morningstar Farms when I was a kid, and I actually like it, and I actually will buy the Morningstar Farm sausage instead of the Bob Evans.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? Plant-based is a great idea for anyone. I'm almost 57 years old, and I work like an animal. And
you don't look a day over 56.
Thank you very much. My wife and I, we have a salad night every week. We try to eat much less protein. I mean, I'm proud to say that we run our restaurant sustainably. We have an organic bread bakery. We have a butcher shop that focuses on sustainably raised animals and that supply chain for our entire restaurant group and others. And so we care about the earth, and we care about health, and it's a great reason to be associated with this product.
Couple of final questions for you. Multiple James Beard Award winning chef Paul Kahn with us. We have something in common, and it's kind of bittersweet at this point, but we were on the same episode of No Reservations when Anthony Bourdain came in and filmed that. I was with Mancow, and he came in, filmed with Mancow. Yeah. They went to the Silver Palm, and now, of course, Anthony is gone, and my boy Dan Palm, who created the Three Little Pigs sandwich, he's no longer with us as well. But we were all on that same episode of No Reservations a few years ago.
Yeah, you know what? Healthy mind, healthy body. And not to bring it back to that, but for me, exercise and eating healthy gives me clarity of mind. It enables me to be creative with food, and enables me to manage a large staff. And so, not to say that those guys were or were not healthy, but I know what works for me.
Right.
And Anthony is dearly missed. No one really knows the pressure that's put on an individual like that. I mean, I got so many calls the day that it happened, and it really boils down to who would just stop and ask, Anthony, how are you? How are you feeling today? And I think we all take that for granted. Wow, he's this incredible guy. He's so successful. Everyone has feelings, and it gets to you. And I think he just, in my eyes, I think he just wanted to relate to some people, outside of the show, and that probably proved to be very difficult. Don't know really what contributed to his passing, but he was a pretty good friend, and hung out with him a few times, and dearly, dearly, dearly miss him.
Well, like I said, it's bittersweet at this point, but, when I think of him, the memories are good. They're happy memories, and they bring a smile to my face. Paul Kahn, thank you very much. Enjoy, have fun here at the Morningstar Farms booth, and we'll see you all over town at one of your many places.
Boom.
Boom. Thank you. Back at the NRA show at the restaurant convention here with my boy Abe Conlon. Congratulations on your James Beard Award.
Thank you.
Best Chef Great Lakes 2018.
Yeah. No, it's incredible to be here. It's been a wild ride. Been kind of traveling around the world, doing my thing, cooking my food, and I'm happy to be back.
That's what I was going to ask you. So how has winning that award changed your life?
I think it's really validation for the whole team and all the work, and my business partner Adrian, what we've been putting in for the past 6 years, and it's just even longer than that, and it's really just an amazing feeling for us to know that our hard work paid off, and it helps with staff, and everybody's proud to be there and do amazing things that we do every day.
And you were great on Top Chef last season. When you win a James Beard Award, you get to skip right from being a possible competitor on Top Chef to being a celebrity guest judge on Top Chef, right?
Yeah, I don't think you can go backwards.
You can't go backwards at all, man.
I've always admired those young chefs on there and the what they go through to put out that food, and it's not an easy thing at all.
What was that experience like doing that TV? It's doing TV is a lot of hurry up and wait.
A lot of hurry up and wait. It was quite hot. We were shooting out there in the Macau sun, and it was great to kind of bring it back full circle. Being Portuguese and inspired by the unique food in Macau, and being able to even bring some of those people that I learned their recipes and brought me to their homes and taught me different things. I was actually able to help them and tell their story on Top Chef. So it's really cool.
And my last Top Chef question is Padma Lakshmi as hot in person as she is on television?
This must be, I'd be interested to see how many Google searches there are of this, because this is literally what every person asks me. And of course.
Well, she doesn't age for some reason.
She's absolutely beautiful, but more so, she's very knowledgeable and a nice person. And we had a great time. Me, her, and Tom, and Nilu. It was really good.
That's awesome. Now, Fat Rice has been around for 7 years now. Time really flies. For people who aren't familiar with Fat Rice, familiar with the cuisine, because still there's probably a lot of people that haven't tried it. What would be the simple explanation?
There is no simple explanation. Essentially, full-flavored food with global influence. We do all different styles of do chicken curries and sausage and fried rice dishes, but the main thing is the arroz gordo. It's a paella-like rice dish with beef and char siu barbecue pork and prawns and curry chicken thighs on it. It's a fantastic thing. There is no simple thing. It's Fat Rice. It's in Logan Square. You're going to find something that's delicious. It's good for your kids and good for your grandma.
There you go. Now, have the tariffs? Now, you get a lot of your stuff from Macau, correct?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, not necessarily anymore.
No,
okay, so the tariffs or anything that's not affecting your business at all.
At this point, that sounds like a question that I.
No, that's not a question. I'm not trying to twist you up at all.
Okay, it gotta be down here, man. I can't have it in my face.
Okay.
Regarding imports of products, we go through great lengths to get the products that we need to create authentic food in the restaurant. So, for example, our olives are imported from Portugal. They go to Fall River, Massachusetts first, and then they come to Chicago. Same thing with salt cod, same thing with our canned sardines. But generally, Chicago's a place where you can really find.
You can get everything here if you need it.
If you need something from China, and the thing about Macau is not like a place where it produces a lot of things. It's a place that a lot of things come to, i.e. spices and soy sauce, and really we have all we have all the ingredients essentially, and the ones that we don't have, we have to make ourselves. And so like we make a fermented shrimp paste, so we make that ourselves because nobody even in Macau even makes that. And not even enough to import. It's not a commercial product. So but we go through great lengths really to get product in, and of course, as tariffs raise on imports, then food cost of food rises, and then people have to pay more money for food.
I got you. Well,
that was your question.
That's fine. That's excellent. Yeah. Now, what is going on with? And I think you have some involvement with this. there's kind of like a no tipping. I don't know if you do this at your restaurant, but there's like a no tipping thing that's kind of starting.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
So there's a lot of people doing different things out there. You know, we saw from Danny Myers the no tipping thing. We saw people adding automatic surcharges. We saw people adding a 2% surcharge, depending on what exactly is the goal of the restaurant. Because essentially, at the end of the day, it takes people to make the food. And people are important in that, and they need to have a fair wage, and they need to have benefits available to them. And it's not possible with especially small independent restaurants like myself and the other people around the country that are making moves and doing making some of these small moves to make sure that they have great people, that their people are taken care of, they're paid well.
Because they don't have a lot of margin to work with, right?
A lot of margin. Within a restaurant, you're lucky if you're making 5% at the end of every
Wow.
day. You're absolutely
They always say
lucky.
if you want to go broke, open a restaurant.
Exactly. No, it's the worst idea in the whole world, and you need to have these people, and the people are the thing that makes it go around. So again, you have to pay them fair wage, and you have to have health benefits available to them, or benefits in general. And everybody out there is looking for a cheap meal. Everybody's looking for a cheap meal. And here's the thing: why is it the most important thing the thing that we put into our body? We are always looking for the cheapest thing. You need, it's like. Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah, you can go home and make a bologna sandwich for yourself, but you got to go to the store. You got to get the bread. You got to get the bologna. You got to get the mustard. You got to put it in your fridge. You got to make sure that the bologna doesn't go bad, because you're going to buy a pound of bologna, and over time, you don't know how fast you. But at the end of the day, you got to pull out the bread. You got to toast the bread. You got to spread the mayonnaise on it. You got to make that bologna sandwich, even though you made it yourself, should probably cost $10. Your $15 hamburger should probably. At the end of the day, be a $20 hamburger, because of the efforts, especially within small businesses that are going the extra length to get the right blend of meat, or higher quality, less antibiotics in the meat, or get organic lettuce, or whatever the things that we as chefs and restaurateurs are trying to give to our guests. And within that, you need every part of the cog to get to the hamburger is essential, and those are people. So therefore, with and the cost of everything rises, and everything breaks all the time. There's a million things that can go wrong, and the thing is that
sounds like a lot of fun owning a restaurant.
And at the end of the day, we're looking for a cheap meal, and then we're saying, well, why don't we pay these people more? Because your profitability should go out of business. So instead of, and the reason why we did the 4% fair wage and wellness initiative was to give everybody a transparent solution to a transparent vision of where that money is going. That money is not going into the owner's pockets. It's going directly to the staff. Half of it approximately pays for higher wages in the back of the house, which can't receive tips legally, right? And then,
really? I didn't know that.
No. People don't know
this government.
People don't know where a tip goes. Right?
That's true.
So
That's
it's
true.
only for front-facing employees, which is the service staff. Okay, so and generally what happens is the service staff, because they're on a tip wage, because their take is based on the check average, therefore they're making 2, sometimes 3 times the amount as the people in the back of the house. And so therefore that's why people are eliminating tipping and just saying all the price of it is included in the cost of the hamburger. That's why your hamburger costs $20.
Gotcha.
Okay, so so then legally the owners are able to give portion of that to the back of the house, because everybody's paid the same. There's different laws in different states. It's very muddy. There's so many different ins and outs. But the thing that we decided to do, and the reason why we did the 4% add-on, is so people knew exactly where it was going. And they weren't saying, people like, don't even tell me, just roll the cost into my hamburger. But then you're going to complain, it's a $20 hamburger.
Right.
And what makes this hamburger so good? And then I got to prove to you, I went and got the meat from this farm, and I got the organic lettuce,
Right.
and I went and got the 2-age cheddar. So, it's important that people know exactly where it's going, and it gives us a place, like, it's really important for us to be able to be transparent with our guests, with our own team, and to be able to say, hey, when somebody walks in at the end of the day and it's 9:55 and the cooks have been working for 12 hours and sweating and they don't want to cook anymore, and that four top walks in and orders a couple steaks, then they get a piece of that. You know what I mean? It makes them excited to say, hey, look at this company cares about us. They want to pay us more. They want to pay help us get benefits. And to me, it's not the exact answer, but it's a step in the right direction.
It's a start, sure. Yeah.
And the thing is, again, people are like, oh, well, why don't you just raise your prices? Again, there's a wage gap between the front and the back of the house. If you raise your prices, you automatically give the front of the house a wage increase. No matter how much you give more money to your back of the house, there's always going to be that dynamic, that animosity between the two, and we want all of our team members to feel valued as an integral part of the experience. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna get to eat your hamburger if it's not on a clean plate. Or you're not going to get to drink a Coke if you don't have a polished glass. So you need everything from the dishwashers to receivers, and all of those people need to make a living wage, and we need to find out creative solutions to be able to do so that at the end of the fiscal year, we have enough money in the account to be able to pay the invoices from last year. Because you always need to have money moving forward, and you always need to have things, and the 4% is definitely a help, and it is, our staff is fully behind it, and people are coming at us from all over the country and saying, how did you do this, and why did you do this, and what were your pitfalls? And it's, running a restaurant is a very difficult situation, and keeping the good people there is essential for its longevity. And this was something that we studied out in Boston and San Francisco, and a hybrid model essentially that we utilize to just give our people a decent life, and that's it.
That's a great answer. I appreciate you explaining that to me, because you just taught me lots of stuff, and I'm sure the people who are listening didn't know those things either. So I appreciate you explaining that to all of us. Final question for you, and since you go all around the world, I always hate it when I watch a TV show and they go, well, oysters used to be a garbage food. Yeah. Lobsters, they used to give them to prisoners in jail. When I was growing up, oxtails and short ribs were 49 cents a pound. Now they're $8.99 a pound, right? So my question for you, and I figured you're the perfect person to ask, it was, what is the next food? What's the food that we should be trying to get our hands on now that's going to be the food that is going to be it's going to be the next thing.
The garbage food
that's
that is now
right.
The popular thing. Well, I think all those things that you talk about, oysters, lobsters, oxtail, short ribs, these are not easy things to procure. They are not easy things to cook. They are not easy things to open.
Well, the brothers, the slaves, that's how they all got the tough cuts of meat.
Right.
They all got. That's why they started eating the pig's feet and the.
I think it's important, especially within the cooking, that we go back and find, because that's where the flavor is. The flavor is in those difficult things. The flavor is in the pig's feet. The flavor is in the pork, in the guanciale, the pork jowl. That's a good question, and I'm trying to think what the answer to that is actually. And but I think a focus on all of that, right? It's like it's where we need to engage our people in what the oxtail is still great. The tripe is fantastic. There's a million. I still
haven't tried tripe yet.
Well, here's the thing.
My grandfather used to eat tripe all the time. He used to eat brains and eggs all the time. Hog malls. He used to eat all the time.
That sounds great to me.
Chitlins. I still haven't done chitlin yet. Still haven't done. Although my grandfather used to swear that I had fried chitlins when I was a kid, and I loved them.
I'll tell you.
I don't remember.
I'll tell you. Here's the move. You go down to Chinatown, Chicago. Okay.
Yes.
There's a couple of restaurants down there. They do the deep fried pork intestines. Go there. Try those. It's gonna bring you right back, and then you're gonna be cooking chitlins at home, and I'm gonna be coming over, and we're gonna have a fantastic time.
Because it's you, Abe, I'm going to do that. I wouldn't be the first person to go, let me try the deep-fried pork intestines, but you say they're going to be the bomb, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to try the deep-fried pork.
Bring chitlins back.
Bring chitlins back. Hey, let's get a T-shirt, right? Bring chitlins back. Abe Cowan, thank you very much. Continued success. Your T-shirt, does that say Fat Rice New York on it on the back?
We did a 3-month residency in Chef's Club in Soho last summer, and so we were out there, and this is the T-shirt for me.
That's very cool. Enjoy your success. Congratulations. It's always great to see you. Fat Rice. What's the location?
2957 West Diversey in Logan Square.
Great food. Take a nice group there and tip well. Thanks a lot, Abe. Appreciate it. Roker Radio from the NRA convention at McCormick Place. Much, much more to come. Back in just a minute.
Remember when the quarter went a long way? These days, it doesn't even go a short way.
Dad, haven't you heard of inflation?
Here you go, sport. You must need this more than I do.
At Sambo's, a quarter still goes a long way. Every time an adult has dinner at Sambo's, a little adult also gets a meal. The Sam Burger Jr., a delicious double burger for just 25 cents.
Hey, Dad, I'll pay my own way tonight.
Sambo's, we're bringing down the high price of bringing up your kids.
Do you have a question or a comment? Send us an email to alrokerjr@prodigy.net. Now, once again, here's Uncle Al.
I'm here with a man that you all know. He's the host of Bizarre Foods, Delicious Destinations, The Zimmern List. I'm probably missing 2 or 3 more shows that you're the host of. Multiple James Beard Award winner, chef and author Andrew Zimmern. Welcome back to Chicago.
Thank you very much, Greg. I feel like I just left here probably because I just did.
You did just leave here. You just leave the James Beard Awards was maybe, a week and a half ago?
Yeah, and I was here the week before that doing an event. So, yeah, it's been great. And, I only live a couple hours north in Minneapolis, so it's simple and easy. I love Chicago.
It's an easy trip, yes. Yeah, and you travel all over the world. What came first for you, your love of food or your love of travel?
Oh, gosh. I never separated them. I always thought of them as co-main events. Okay. And I have to tell you, in the thousands of interviews I've done in the last 16, 18 years, nobody's ever asked me that question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I caught the bug for both at the same time. With my parents, we were always traveling and eating, traveling to eat, eating to travel. It was they were inseparable and linked. My dad and my mother were both the kind of people that even on a casual, weekend, family trip to see a relative in central New York, the amount of research that went into which diner we were actually going to stop in for lunch because they had a better chicken salad than the place down the road was something that my father took very seriously. I just grew up in that kind of family.
And you're a native New Yorker,
Yep.
correct? Okay, so how do you end up going from the epicenter of food and the culinary world to Minnesota?
Well, it's a fascinating story. Born and raised in New York City, had a great upbringing, child of the 60s and 70s. And by the time I got out of college, I was a very robust, active alcoholic and drug addict. And there's only, you only wind up, it's jails, institutions, or death. That's it. And things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I held on to my life.
We party a lot in radio, too, so you're not alone.
I was very functional. Well, there's a massive amount of Americans. This is something that's pervasive everywhere. There's not a family in America that's not touched by these issues. And things kept getting worse and worse. And ultimately, I finally didn't die and made a choice that I was going to do the one thing that I had sworn never to do, which was to try to practice abstinence. And I've been sober for 27 years now, continuously, and it's an amazing, amazing thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I went to Minnesota to go to treatment there. And
okay.
Then, the rest was history.
There you go. My wife and I got held over. We were going to Mexico, and we were held over in Minneapolis, and ended up going to the Mall of America. Got something to eat there. Where should we have gone to get something to eat in Minneapolis?
What used to be flyover country in general has become one of the driving forces in culinary in America. And I'm talking about everything from Chicago, 400 miles in either direction, east and west, and in a rectangle north up to the Canadian border. I think the most exciting food city in the Midwest outside of Chicago is Minneapolis. I don't think it's even close.
Really?
I don't even think it's close for depth and breadth and excellence. It's amazing to me. Look at all the biggest trends in New York and L.A. and Boston and Seattle and Miami and Houston. These incredible food cities. It's baking pies. It's no longer fun to put bacon in recipe. You've got to make your own bacon. You've got to pickle your own stuff. There's almost this food crafting and food hobbyist movement within culinary. Chefs are now buying olives and curing them and doing their own olive oils, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's stuff that people in the central part of the country have never let go of. They've always been working that way because their lives weren't defined by large cities for so many generations. So I think it's really cool what's going on in cities as diverse as, Cleveland and Cincinnati and Milwaukee and, Minneapolis and Indianapolis. It's really an incredible Des Moines, what's happening in the Midwest. But I think Minnesota is just beyond just far outkicks the coverage on all those towns. Incredible East African communities there, Somali and Ethiopian most notably, that have...
See, now, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years.
Really spectacular stuff. The Hmong community that's been there, the largest Hmong community, I believe, anywhere right now, is in Minneapolis, over on St. Paul mostly, in terms of being in the Twin Cities. But the amount of the Mexican restaurants, Salvadoran restaurants, the regional Mexican restaurants, it's the Hmong restaurants, the Laotian restaurants, just absolutely spectacular. Much more diverse. And look, don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of white people with blonde hair and bangs. And I say that with love. I've lived there 27 years. These are the people and the state that gave me my life back. But the Twin Cities is, and to some extent, Duluth and Rochester, the bigger cities, are way more diverse than people give them credit for. Out in, the rest of the state, it's very much farm country. Small town America is still alive and well, and I just love the people of my state.
It's the same way here in Illinois. Once you get outside of Cook County, Chicago, and the surrounding counties, this is a farming state. This is, it's the Midwest. And for so many years, the Midwest is neglected. We're just, like you said, we're flyover.
But look what happened with Chicago. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, Chicago had some good restaurants, right?
It was basically Charlie Trotter, and that's, he was the king, and then that was about it.
Yeah, you had
steakhouses.
Yeah, you had steakhouses. Jean Joho was doing. There was still a lot of stuff going on here. You had some really good restaurants in this town. Right now, Chicago is arguably one of the greatest food cities in the world. I don't think there's any doubt of that. It's just, the food has exploded here as one of the biggest, tourism drivers in the city. It's incredible. The restaurant scene here is just out of control.
It is amazing. And why is it, you bring that up, the restaurant scene here is out of control. Why is it that I always seem to continue to go to the same 3 or 4 places?
Because that's what we all do. Because we cook the same 3 or 4 things, we go to the same 3 or 4 places, and that's fine. If it makes you happy and you feel good there, go there. There are some people that, have to go to a new restaurant every other night. They're just animals for having that badge that when someone says, "Oh, have you been to that hot place?" and they say, "Oh, yeah, I've been there," and they wear that, so proudly. And, people want to fetishize restaurants like that. That's fantastic. Then there's the opposite end of the spectrum, folks that maybe go to the same 3 or 4 places or don't actually go out to eat that often. That's fine, too. I think the choice here is just so extraordinary, and both high and low. Everybody talks about the famous fancy restaurants in this town, but, for good old, blue-collar lunch bucket, kind of fare, I'll take this town over almost any other.
And we do have great, the Italian beef sandwiches. And it makes my mouth water when I see them.
Sure.
It's incredible.
But you also have some of the best, the hidden secrets, the Filipino food, the Czech delis.
Chinatown, great stuff.
Incredible food variety here. Zaragoza for Berea. Just some places that I just love dearly that are real exemplars of what it means to be in the hospitality industry without having 7 forks at a place setting.
What brings you to the restaurant show?
Oh my gosh, a couple of my favorite subjects: sustainable seafood and herbs. I do a lot of work with Verlasso, a salmon company that's based in Chile and Patagonia, and I just returned from there. We actually have a video that my production company made that's airing in their booth. The future of our planet is at stake right now. We're not having a climate change problem. People are debating this. We're actually in the middle of a climate emergency. We're not in the middle of a humanitarian crisis when it comes to food and how we're feeding or not feeding people around the world, not just here in America. We're having a food emergency. And so when I see people deriding, all big business, it kind of irks me. There are some really good players in this game. And I don't like to see the finger get wagged at everybody and have everyone get thrown under the same bus just because someone's grandfather isn't pulling a single salmon out of a loch on the edge of the coast of Scotland doesn't mean that it can't be good. The aquaculture industry generation and a half ago was, and very rightfully so, derided for a lot of the missteps that were made as that industry, gained its ground and started to crawl out of the crib. But now there's some really incredible companies. Verlasso is one of the leaders who are insisting on doing things the right way. They seek to be the cleanest and most sustainable fish company that there is, not just, salmon farming. It's an incredible organization, and at the same time, they're able to grow fish to scale, millions and millions and millions of pounds a year to help feed our hungry planet. And they're doing so by, trying to make sure that, the waters that these salmon are raised in are kept clean, that the feed that they're getting isn't a harmful or unsustainable feed system the way it was in decades past. They're trying to take care of the planet. They're trying to create jobs in areas that may not have them, and they're trying to do the right thing. And we can spend a lot of time picking apart a lot of the big companies that are out there doing this kind of work, but there are a few of them that are really, really, honest to gosh, doing it the right way, and I think we need to support them. And most importantly, we need to support the concept of aquaculture in general. I don't understand why it's okay to farm pigs, raise them, raise cows, raise lamb, raise goat, raise chickens, raise ducks, but somehow it's not okay to raise fish. We all know what it looks like to raise chickens the wrong way. We all know what it looks like.
Well, we do now.
We all know what it looks like to raise fish the wrong way, and we need to support the people who are doing it the right way.
And I appreciate your time. I know you have to do a presentation in a few minutes. You also have a new children's book out. Tell me about that.
Yeah. My dad told me stories when I was little. The radio died 20 minutes outside of, the city on 5-hour trips up to southern Vermont to go skiing. I told my kid's story at night so that he would fall asleep and not read all night with the flashlight so that he could get some sleep and be rested for school the next day. And, one of my business partners said, you got to write this stuff down. And I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, and that's how to write a children's book. So I went out and found a fantastic co-author in Heather Mackleton, and AZ and the Lost City of Ophir is volume 1 in the Alliance of World Explorers series.
And by the way, this is
on Amazon or on a website we created for it called azworldexplorer.com. It's won the Ippy Award as the best juvenile fiction book of the year from the Independent Booksellers Association. It's been a bestseller on Amazon, number 1 in its category.
And this is a book. This is not a 20-page picture book. This is when you say it's a children's book, this is a children's book.
And beautifully illustrated by Lisa Troutman. We kept it all Minnesota in-state. It's published in-state, co-authored in-state, designed and illustrated in-state. And it is a chapter book that is a rollicking adventure that, time-traveling young heroes that save the world, chased by evil villains back to the land of ancient Egypt. But along the way, kids learn about cooking and anthropology and sociology and science and astronomy, and it's just a wonderful thing, and kids are loving it. People really should, and proceeds from the book benefit No Kid Hungry. So if anyone's listening, buy it for your kid. If you don't have a child of your own, there's a kid in your life or a local library or a Y or a youth center that needs books. Go on Amazon, go on azworldexplorer.com, buy the book. Money goes to a good cause to feed hungry children, and give the book away to someone. It's a really cool project. Can't wait to write more of them.
Well, Andrew, it's great to see you again. You came in studio maybe 11 or 12 years ago, and I think I ate a tarantula and ostrich egg and some other stuff. So it's great to see you again.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming to Chicago, and we love you here, and hopefully we'll see you here again soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, it's time for Hot Dog Wars. I am here with Dwayne from Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs. Welcome to Chicago.
Great to be here. Love this town, and we're always happy to be here at the NRA show.
Now, I noticed that they put you far enough away from Vienna beef so that a fight doesn't break out.
It's just far enough away that we can't throw the hot dogs at them.
Because you would if you could, right?
Yeah, and I think vice versa as well. They probably don't like us being here in their home turf, but listen, we got everybody. Not everybody's from Chicago. Everybody comes to Chicago, and we got a big following too. So we like to represent as well.
Well, maybe a lot of people haven't had a Nathan's Famous. I know it's huge on the East Coast, huge in New York. I've had it in New York. What is the biggest difference, would you say, between a Vienna beef dog, which everyone here in Chicago is familiar with, and a Nathan's hot dog?
Honestly, the recipe hasn't changed in 103 years, and if you taste the flavor, it's all in the flavor. So we film people who've had their first bite of a Nathan's hot dog, and we film them because their expressions are priceless. And they're like, oh my God, they get this amazing taste of garlic and just all kinds of flavors.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's a tasty dog.
It is a tasty dog, and I'll be honest with you, I never ate a lot of Nathan's before I started working with them, and I started comparing, and there's a big difference. I like Vienna beef, but I love Nathan's.
See, now that's interesting that you say there is a big difference, because if I were to go on the street and ask 10 Chicagoans, they would probably say, somebody just yelled Vienna as we were walking by there. Somebody would just say, well, a hot dog is a hot dog. How is there such a big difference?
It's high quality, so quality means a lot.
Oh, are you dissing on Vienna beef's quality?
I'm not going to say that because they have very high quality too.
You got to choose your words carefully, yeah.
I do, but honestly, it's the way you mix the spices in with the beef and how you nurture that beef. I mean, there's a process to it. We're not pork hot dogs, neither are Vienna, so we go with 100% beef. So do they. And I think it's the beef. I mean, you're starting with a really good product, and you just got to spice it up the right way.
Have you ever been to the 4th of July, the hot dog eating contest? Have you gone in person yet?
I've been there a few years now, and you'll see me on TV. I'm usually the ones who high fives the contestants that's on their way up, and hopefully this year I'll be able to help them with the belt this year too. I shine it up for them too, so that's one of my jobs.
There you go. I've interviewed Joey Chestnut many times, and I can't think of his name right now. He's from Chicago, and he owns a taco in a bag. And he's participated in the contest many a times. I get it. I sort of get the contest. I say this is why other countries hate us, because we've got people on national television eating. How many did he eat last year to win?
I believe it was 73.
Okay, see. Meanwhile, there's guys out like me counting calories, and he's eating 73 hot dogs at a time. I understand the hot dogs. What I don't get is dipping the buns in the water. That's what loses me.
So I think I understand it now, because I was under the same impression. Like, why does this happen? Why do they do this? So my understanding is when you dip that bun in there, you have to take the bun down too with the hot dog. It breaks it down, and it's easier for them to swallow.
I get it, but just the thought of a wet hot dog bun, come on, man.
If you had to clean up after this show,
I bet it's not pretty.
It is the ugliest show on the planet. It's not fun. It's not pretty. But it's an American tradition, and I think July 4th is a perfect time for it. We all celebrate it, and we work our butts off to get it to be a good production, and ESPN does a great job from there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have fun while you're here in Chicago.
Nice to meet you, Al Roker Jr.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Here with Fred from Vienna Beef. Welcome back to the restaurant convention for how many years are this going to be for you, probably?
Well, I've been coming to this show since I was a kid. Literally.
You probably enjoyed it a lot more when you were a kid than you do now, having to stand on your feet for how many hours a day?
It's, you know what, it's work, but it's fun.
There you go. There you go. Now, I see that they keep you far enough away from Nathan's Hot Dog, so West Side Story's in town, so I don't want a fight to break out. I don't want it to be, the Jets and the Sharks.
They're trying to get traction here in Chicago, but Vienna Beef is Chicago hot dogs.
There you go. So I've gone to different places in town. They all say they have a Chicago-style hot dog, but I've seen it done differently in different places, a little bit differently. Tell me, what is the definitive Chicago-style hot dog?
Chicago-style hot dog is a Vienna beef, natural casing, skinless, on a bun, steamed, with mustard, green sweet relish, onions, tomatoes, pickles, celery salt, and sport peppers. Poppy seed bun is an option for that operator.
I've seen it done other ways. I've seen it with lettuce on it. I've seen it a lot of different ways, but that's the official.
That's the official Vienna beef hot dog, Chicago hot dog. There is no wrong way to eat a hot dog, as long as it's a Vienna beef hot dog.
Well, I agree. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question. I'm not going to question the validity of putting ketchup on a hot dog. But I am interested to know, because personally I'm like, if I bought it, I can put on it whatever I want. That's kind of how I feel, But where did not putting ketchup on a hot dog come from?
It goes back in history, and there is no one definitive answer. It's just that the ketchup doesn't work with our hot dogs. It doesn't need it for flavor. We've got the fresh tomato. That works better than any reconstituted tomato product with sugar and vinegar.
That's a good answer. And then since the East Coast invaders are down the way there, what makes the Vienna beef hot dog better than a Nathan's hot dog or any other hot dog?
Well, Vienna beef hot dogs have been around since 1893, the Columbian Exposition. We are still a family-owned operation.
A lot of stuff came out of that Columbian Expedition. The Ferris wheel.
Cracker Jacks,
light bulbs.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla lit the whole thing. That's why it was called the White City.
Exactly. But when it comes to what makes Vienna different, we produce small batch. The old world methods and traditions, and we haven't changed our formula or our processes.
You must have some good pull down at City Hall, because I never saw a street construction project get done quicker than that one over there by the Vienna Beef Factory.
Believe me.
It must have seemed like a lifetime for you, but I couldn't believe they finished that thing that fast.
It was long overdue.
You got that right. Fred, thank you very much. Enjoy yourself. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Have a good show.
Thank you. Back at the restaurant convention, and I'm at David's Cookies, and I'm here with Lee from David's Cookies. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm excellent. Now, I've been talking about how there's all kinds of crazy things here, different innovations, new kind of fun things. You definitely have, you probably have one of the most popular booths here at the show, because every time I walk by here, you're giving out samples of cookies and brownies.
That's because we make excellent product.
Good answer. So one of the new products that you have is for this year is edible cookie dough. Now, for someone like me or someone like you, us of a certain generation, cookie dough was always edible, but now not so much. So explain why cookie dough isn't edible anymore and what makes your cookie dough edible.
Okay, in the beginning, even as myself as a child, I ate cookie dough that my mom made.
We ate cookie dough and cake batter all the time, right? That was almost the best part about it, right?
And we were all fortunate that we didn't get very sick by doing so.
Oh no, how come?
Because regular cookie dough has raw eggs, and it's also...
But Rocky ate raw eggs and nothing happened to him.
That's a movie.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And the other key ingredient that was in the product beforehand was regular flour. And regular flour could have some bacteria in it. So what we have done is we have removed the eggs out of the product, and we're using a special heat-treated flour so that you can truly eat it and have no worries about contracting any illness.
So it's almost like pasteurizing the flour in a way.
That's correct. And every other ingredient in the edible cookie dough is already edible. So we've combined like chunk chocolate in it. We have a birthday cake which has colored sprinkles and M&Ms. We have a double chocolate, which is kind of like a brownie with the dark chocolate and chocolate chunks. And then our most popular one is a Reese's peanut butter with Reese's peanut butter pieces. Excellent product. Would you like to try some?
I had some a little bit earlier, and it absolutely tastes like cookie dough. Actually, I had a taste of it, and then my wife took it from me, and she ate the rest of it. So, but it tasted exactly like cookie dough. Is this out on the market yet?
It's on the market in a food service industry. We're going to be introducing it in a retail market in a container. So instead of having...
How big a container?
It's a 12-ounce container, where our current production is in an 8-pound tub, which is not feasible for the average consumer.
Well, it depends who you ask, but still a 12-ounce container. So that's a Game of Thrones serving. So you sit there and you just sit there on the couch for an hour and a half and you just eat that, huh?
Yeah, if you want to.
Believe me. So what do you think is so? Yes, it harkens back to our childhood, but what's the attraction to cookie dough?
I think it's the number one dessert as far as a finger food dessert, cookies, and we're just playing off of that. That if you like to eat a cookie, you always wanted to eat the edible cookie dough as a child, now you have a safe and delicious method to eat the edible cookie dough and not have any worries about any contaminations or bacterias.
So edible cookie dough in did you say a 12-ounce container?
12-ounce container. The flavors that I mentioned will be available in those containers as well. We're going to launch that probably Q3 of this year.
Sounds like fun. I can see a lot of people eating cookie dough.
Well, we hope so too.
There you go. Thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate it. Take care and continued success. And have fun handing. See, I know that, and I know that it's a long day. These conventions are long days. But it's got to make you happy to see the smile on everybody's faces because you're the cookie man.
And it's also a whole lot of fun.
There you go. Take care. Thank you. That'll do it for this edition of Roker Radio from the National Restaurant Association Convention. I want to thank my guests, Andrew Zimmern from Bizarre Foods and Delicious Destinations, also Chef Paul Kahn, Chef Abe Conlon. That's about 10 James Beard Awards right there. Pretty awesome. And all of the people who took a minute to talk with me while I'm here. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Al Roker Jr. on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or shoot me an email, rokerradio@gmail.com. As always, thank you so much for listening. Go to alrokerjr.com or tell your friends, subscribe on iTunes. Just have them look for alrokerjr.com on iTunes or look for Roker Radio on iTunes. As always, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.